I'm going to sit down because then I'll feel like I'm still part of the group a little bit more, because I'm going to put my little rug on to keep warm. And I'm not really sure, but my story's changed ever since I put my name on the board. I've had 4 or 5 stories come in of, I want to be told, I want to be told, tell me about that. And then Shez's last part of her story was about the restoration work that she feels a call for. And so, of course, now that's the story sitting with me. And I was born the youngest child of a Western District farming family, and the history of our land is very tortured as well. If you look back past the green, rich farmlands, there's a story there that, shh, don't ask those questions, was what I got told as a little girl. Or we gave them houses, or why are you always asking the difficult things? Could you please, little girl should be seen and not heard. There were so many things coming at me, and from a young age I really can't remember a time when I didn't question how things were. And it's been a stiff life path at questioning everything, because you can't fit in anywhere and you're always looking for, but what's underneath there? Tell me the depth underneath there. I'm not satisfied yet with that story. That's just what you tell me to keep me happy. That's not the real story. I felt a real connection to our land that we're on as a little girl. I can remember finding objects, digging around and finding rocks that had and playing with them and holding them. I can remember times when I could close my eyes and see how it was. That's what it felt like to me. I could always connect with the earth, and maybe because we had no neighbours and all I had was the land around me, that I had that ability. I don't think it's anything incredibly special. I think actually it's something we all have, but we've forgotten how to connect and how to see. And I feel like our connection with the ancestors gives us something to do with that line, that it's seeing beyond the obvious, seeing stories. And yes, we can tell the stories of what happened to them in their lifetime, but they do connect us into something. I've always been amazed, why are some family lines so resilient? Why can you see some and others just fall apart? Like, where do we get those things from? How is it that people can survive losing babies and doing all, and other people just can't, So I've always had a real interest that somehow our healing as a nation relies on us being able to go back to these stories of what happened and actually consciously healing and making amends. So my little story's heading toward, my mother passed in January, and I got a little jewellery box with lots of things in it, and inside was a little 8-pointed star, and it was a medal hanging on a chain, and it belonged to my great-great-great-grandfather, and it was a rifle shooting medal. He hit the target, whatever it was for. It was like sharpshooter, but it wasn't called that. And it had Nathaniel John Holcombe 18 something on this medal. And I thought, hey, nobody knows I got that. They would have all wanted that. That's just slipped under the radar. That's great that I got that. And I felt sort of like, that's because I'm the family connector. I'm the only one who's interested in ancestors, so I got that. But the more I sat with it, the more I realised, oh God, imagine what that meant. If you were a sharpshooter in those days, we were clearing the land of their native inhabitants, what that meant. And it also started to bring up this irky feeling of what was, yes, he was a sharpshooter, he was a great farmer, he built the local church, but imagine what they had to do that and provide for their families. So I made myself a little altar, and I sat with my little gold medallion, and I took myself back. I know where that farmhouse was, and I sat there and I asked what happened, because I just wanted to know. And when I went back there, all I could see was this fire. They were sitting around a fire, and it was early morning, and I could see the breath that when the horses, you know, the steam coming out of their nostrils, and they're stamping on the ground, and people were gathering, and the farmers, they were all gathering, and there was a quiet and there was a fire, and I had a irky feeling in my body, and they weren't saying much, but it felt to me like they were going out on a slaughter. That's what they were doing. They were gathering. It was clandestine. They weren't going to tell the families. They weren't going to tell the kids. Like, the men were gathering. They had something to do. They were going to do it and clear the land. And that's what came. I couldn't see what happened after that, but that was the irky, horrible feeling I got through me. And it felt then that, well, they were trying to do the best they could. If I could not pass judgment on that, I would sit with my great-great-great-grandfather and ask him, and all I could feel was, God, I am so sorry we had to do this. We felt like we had to do this. I'm so sorry. And I kept thinking, is that why I feel like I'm never enough? Is that why I always want to help people? Like, I feel like I have to do more and more and more because I'm trying to atone for these generations past who did things that were totally wrong but actually felt such shame and guilt about it. They passed it right down our line. That was in my blood. There was nothing going away, and maybe that's why I was sort of acting the way I was. So, yeah, I sort of felt like I was hugging my grandpa, and he was saying, it's okay now, we are sorry, let's be sorry together. And I could hold his medal then and realise that he didn't have a bad heart. There wasn't any malice in that. There was something that was part of the big story of the day, that he had to do that, but it wasn't something that I had to carry, and that if I could say sorry for him and start again, that was all that was needed. And my boys don't carry that. That's my feeling anyway. They don't carry that. That stopped with me. And it really made me feel like, wow, maybe we are all so much more powerful than we believe we are, or we've been taught to be. And that's the end of my little story.